There are not many words to describe what happened on Bourbon Street early New Year's Day, just behind where we're standing. I'm Tyler Horka, that's Jack Sobel. We're with blueandgold.com, Blue and Gold Illustrated. And tragedy struck New Orleans, the site of the Sugar Bowl, which will now be played January 2nd at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. Was supposed to be played tonight, January 1st, at the same time. But Jack, you can't really play a football game in good conscience after knowing that just behind us here, you see the caution tape, the police tape. At least 10 people were tragically killed, murdered. Like I said, no way to really say that any differently. That's what happened here. Georgia's team is staying just down the street. They're locked down in the hotel. I think Notre Dame is a little bit further away, locked down in the hotel as well, right? Like
we've confirmed Notre Dame is sheltering in place. The team has put out word that every member of the program, players, coaches, staff, etc., is all present and accounted for. We ourselves left Bourbon Street probably about where it happened, maybe like 2 hours, an hour and a half. Before it happened, we woke up to the news like everyone else did. It's just like Tyler said, like you can't play a football game after that. Obviously the logistical nightmare, the security, making sure this was an isolated incident. I think is important, and the FBI is investigating this as a terrorist attack that happened just behind us. It's not just that. It's the how shaken we are, how shaken the city is, how important the Sugar Bowl is to the city. We've only been here for a couple of days. It's a shorter stay than there usually is for the Sugar Bowl, but you really get the sense of how important this thing is to the city. This should be a day of celebration. It's a day where there's not much going on in the street besides police activity. If we're shaking, you can only imagine how the players must be feeling right now. The coaches, you can make a case that without that 24 hours in between when this game is supposed to be played and when it is being played, the players aren't going to be in the right mindset to play a football game right now. You have to think about that from an emotional standpoint. Could hurt from a physical standpoint too. When you're not in the right headspace, things can happen and you're not playing your best and you might get hurt. And there's just so much to consider. There's no choice other than to postpone this game.
Literally, metaphorically, the sun will come up tomorrow and they will play the Sugar Bowl. But going off of what you were saying, Jack, I don't see how the vibes change much between now and 8:45 p.m. Eastern on January 2nd. It's going to be a surreal, somber day at the Sugar Bowl even tomorrow. Now, can you kind of block it out when the ball's kicked off? Potentially, sure. Both teams are going to try. But just, in a little bit of into the mind of myself this morning, I was standing out here helping some local TV people do their hits, which, by the way, there's reporters all over the place. We're literally standing on trolley tracks that if this was a normal Sugar Bowl New Year's Day, there would be trains going about, bustling. The city would be, booming. It's not. The vibes are very weird. And like I was saying, just this morning when I was standing out here doing this same thing, I went to the University of Texas. It didn't even hit me until right then that they were playing a football game in Atlanta today. And I really, honestly, couldn't really care less. That's how much the minds, I think, of people have been affected by this tragedy, which is potentially a terrorist attack. Like you said, Jack, it's mind-numbing. It's crushing to the core, to be completely honest. And again, are we going to try to move forward and do our jobs to cover that game tomorrow? Absolutely. Are the players going to try to keep their hopes of a national championship alive? Absolutely. But it's going to be a little bit different because of this, and there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. Again, from our standpoint, we're shaken. Talking to other reporters, you can't really put it into words. It's hard to describe what happened here late last night on, again, what's supposed to be a day of celebration here in New Orleans. And like you said, our job is to cover a football game. That is what we plan to do. The players and coaches' job is to play and coach a football game. That's what they're going to do. But it is just tough to find the words.
It's almost similar to when games were postponed out of 9/11. We're talking about terrorism. We're talking about senseless, needless loss of life, and that's why they didn't play football, baseball, whatever it was in September 24 years ago. Today, that's why they're not playing football here today, is because something much more important than a game occurred, and you need time to reflect on that, and you need just a little bit of space. And I think that's the teams are going to rally around each other. I think that's what's kind of beautiful about this, is that the teams are going to be able to say, hey, we have each other. Like you mentioned earlier that no loss of life on either side from that aspect, but there could have been. Yeah. And it's absolutely gut-wrenching to think about that. And along those lines, we don't know, as far as we know personally, anyone's lives who were taken, but there are people who are going through that today, and it's just incredibly it's almost impossible to fathom, really.
No, I mean, I think I speak for everyone on the Notre Dame beat when I say, like, we were looking forward to covering what should have been a great football game today, and it's needless, it's senseless, and it's gonna be a tough 30 or so hours until kickoff, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's gonna be a tough however many hours it is until kickoff, but we'll get through it, and we will do our best to bring you the best Notre Dame coverage we can.
That's all we can do, and we appreciate you guys for watching. Hug your loved ones tighter today. I know I've had a few more phone calls with my parents today than I probably would have expected, but that's what you do in times like this. So we appreciate you guys watching, and as Jack said, we will, if the game goes on, we'll be there to cover it the best that we can for blueandgold.com and Blue and Gold Illustrated.